Let's take a look at the text. So we're in Acts chapter 15. Now, there was a debate going on about whether or not Gentile Christians needed to become circumcised just like the Jews were. And so ultimately, the elders and the apostles met together to discuss the topic. Long story short, they agree that they don't need to become circumcised, but James stands up and suggests that these 4 rules should be followed. Then everybody agrees, and they send this following letter to the Gentiles. And here's the 4 rules in question. You are to abstain from food sacrificed to idols, from blood, from the meat of strangled animals, and from sexual immorality. You will do well to avoid these things. So, this guy's claiming that because James suggested these 4 rules, then he doesn't understand grace, because if it's grace alone, you shouldn't have any rules. Well, right off the bat, he's missing a major point here, because it's not just James, it's the apostles, the elders, and the whole church agreed to send this letter. So Paul suggested the rules, but everyone agreed that these were good rules. Now, it goes deeper than that, because if we go to 1 Corinthians chapter 8, Paul is actually talking about food sacrificed to idols. Now, at the beginning here, he just straight up says, it doesn't matter if you eat it or don't eat it, because the idols are fake, so it's still just food. However, not everyone understands that, and you need to be careful that the exercise of your rights does not become a stumbling block to the weak. And so that's the context of what's going on here. It's not that these 4 rules affect your salvation or that grace is not enough for you. It's that there was a major clash and conflict going on between the Gentile Christians and the Jewish Christians. They weren't meshing well. And so the compromise was, okay, the Gentiles don't need to become circumcised because that's too much of a burden on them. But they can follow these rules because those would be a stumbling block for the Jewish brothers and sisters, because those are very offensive to them. And they even give a reason here. This is what James gave those rules, and he said, as his reason, for the law of Moses had been preached in every city from the earliest times and is read in the synagogues on every Sabbath. So basically what he's saying is these are reasonable rules to expect these Gentiles to follow, because